Howdy team, in this video, I thought I would try something completely different. I'm going to get the whiteboard out and I'm going to educate you on how a mortgage brokerage industry is actually set up so that you can fully understand the differences. I'm getting so many people reaching out to me about, should I be an AR? Should I be a DA? What's an RI? That I thought I'd try and draw it all out to make it really clear, really clean, for you to be able to understand how this industry works. Now, what you need to realize, first of all, is I'm not saying anyone is better than the other necessarily. I'm not telling you that you should be an AR or you should be a DA. It's your business, it's your self-employment, it is your life to do the research and make the decisions for what is ultimately right for you when it comes to setting yourself up as a mortgage broker, mortgage advisor, mortgage and insurance advisor, whatever that's meant to be. But you need to understand the differences. You know, a directly authorized firm is someone who has direct responsibility to the Financial Conduct Authority. An appointed representative is somebody who works underneath effectively a directly authorized firm called a network, who could have hundreds or even thousands of advisors in a handful or hundreds of firms. And you're outsourcing some of the key elements of business growth or business structure in order so that you can focus on the key areas to drive your business forward. You then have a registered individual, a person who is working underneath the appointed representative or the directly authorized firm. And it all depends on your appetite for risk. It all depends on what you want. Do you want to be a complete out and out business owner, entrepreneur who takes on the responsibility of everything that you do within your mortgage brokerage? Or do you want to leverage some of those things out so that you can actually just focus on your superpowers, on getting the best result for your client and actually making sure that you really, really drive the business forward? It all depends on, are you an entrepreneur or are you potentially an intrapreneur? Are you somebody who wants to completely take on the risk, or are you somebody who wants to have support and guidance and help? And the thing with mortgage networks is that help massively varies depending on, you know, who you are working underneath and who you are working with. So when you go from being employed to self-employed, there's some key things you need to understand first of all, because there's multiple different things you need to consider. And I'm going to write them on the board first of all, so that you can get a clear idea. So first things first, you need to think about when going self-employed. Let's make sure I'm in the right spot. I'm going to come slightly off camera. You need to make sure that you've got brand. You know, you need to have a solid brand for your business in order to be able to drive it forward. Let's try that again. Brand, so you can actually see it. So we need to have some brand. You know, you need to have colors. You need to have a vision, mission, values. You need to have swag and logo if that's really what you want to go on about. You then need to think about how you're going to do your marketing. And also you need to think about how you're going to do your lead gen. Because my belief and what I coach my mentees is that branding plus marketing equals leads. That's the key thing that you have to understand within all of this. And there's support and help that you can get. You also need to think about, you've got sales. In mortgage world, we have advice. Now you can bring in advisors who can do that for you, but also as the business owner, you know, you can do that yourself. You then have PA, someone who can book your appointments, someone who can help you, almost like a paraplanner helping you on the front end. You also, within that, and that's a double N, you also have admin. And I classify them as three different things. A PA is someone who manages you on your day-to-day. A paraplanner is someone who helps you with the research and the advice that you're going to give, maybe a trainee advisor. An administrator is someone who does everything after the application is submitted. So it depends on the way in which you work. And I coach this stuff to make sure that mortgage advisors do this in the right order. The difference with a PA is they're going to have the experience of being able to support you more, taking things off of your plate that enable you to focus on your superpowers. And you could have all three in a business. If you're self-employed, I actually think you should have a PA working with you on front end and an admin working with you on the back end after the sale and application has been submitted, before you even think about taking on your first advisor. But that is a story for another day. You then have things like compliance, which is a huge area to focus on. And within compliance, you've got a whole host of things. You've got PI insurance, professional indemnity insurance. You've got the FCA fees and the FOS fees, because you have to have that in order to be able to give advice in this industry. You've got the level of support that can be given from various different networks, which will all become clear in a moment. You've got complaints handling, which can come under that, because a verbal complaint or a written complaint all needs to be dealt with and managed. You then have an element of commission tracking. Who's going to be doing that? Who's responsible for it? Who's chasing the lenders? Who's making sure that that money is hitting your bank in a timely manner? Who's making sure that that is all going through efficiently and effectively? Then what you need to think about is, well, okay, how do we make ourselves more efficient? Because the big thing I'm going to talk to you about in terms of appointed representative working underneath the network is the network system is there to make compliance easier for them. It is not there to automate your processes and make you more efficient as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. So you need to have CRM, which is about automation. It's about consistency. It's about a sales process, customer relationship management. Where do you track the end-to-end journey of your customer whilst maintaining compliance? Many of my mentees that I coach and work with, that I help go from startup to scale up, you know, they have the network CRM that juggles all the complaints and also the advice, you know, making sure that the files are fully completed and that everything is in there that's needed. But also they have their own CRM system so they can monitor and measure and manage the numbers within the business of the team that they bring in. You then also have to think about recruitment. You know, even from the point of view of administrators. And I love how I started up here in capitals and then I've got really bored and gone down to lowercase down here. You've got recruitment that you need to think about, whether it be for PA, whether it be for advisors, whether if you're at the size that I am, where it is BDM and managers. Who is going to drive the business forward and lead that forward? You then need to think about training. Now, training is actually one that can come underneath a network and underneath compliance. So let's just have a little look in terms of, I'm going to go number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9. Is there anything else that I've missed that you can think of that is really, really vital that you need to have in order to be able to build your financial services business? I want to give you the education, the inspiration and the motivation and the understanding of how this industry actually works. So if there's anything that's missing, then make sure you comment in and let me know. But I think that pretty much covers most of it, because what you now need to understand is how the industry works and the differences between being an AR, an appointed representative, a directly authorized firm, or a RI, a registered individual. So we'll refer back to this little list that's now going to be behind me. But let's take the FCA, Financial Conduct Authority. They are the regulator of the industry. They are the ones who make sure that the advice that we give is absolutely spot on. Now, what you have is two arms off of this. You have a network. And there are many of these networks. Many of my mentees are with HLP, Primus. They are with Stonebridge. Oh, crikey, O'Reilly, my Monday morning. Stonebridge, they are with JLM. They are with, who else have we got? The Right Mortgage Network. And that's a network. Now, the other alternative, which is on the same tier and same level as a network, is a directly authorized firm. And this is all about appetite for risk. Now, I've been directly authorized since 2008. When I first went self-employed in 2006, I was underneath a network in my first 2 years. Back then, it was personal touch. But in my recruitment and in my growth, the cost of sending somebody on a week-long training course, paying for their hotel, training for the course, having been with the Woolwich, Connells, Alexander Hall, running a brokerage for 12 months in 2005, 2006, I knew how to run a DA organization because I was sales and compliance manager. So I was happy to take on, the risk effectively. Now, I also, in 2018, in June, I joined Primus for 6 months. I set up a separate limited company underneath Primus, and I transacted and traded mortgage and protection advice for 6 months under there. I flew through my CAS because when you change networks or you join a network, that network or that DA organization has a responsibility to make sure that you are compliant and you can do the job. So even if you have CAS already, you are still going to have your files checked. You're still going to have to adhere to their sales process. And any self-respecting firm is going to make sure that you are compliant and adhering to the guidelines. So I had to regain my CAS underneath Primus based on their sales process and interpretation of the regulator's position, the regulator's standards. And I decided that after 6 months of being with Primus, that there was too much extra administration, that it wasn't really adding that much value to my business growth and business development. And I preferred sailing my own ship underneath being a DA organization. Plus, the types of business that we were doing actually required us to go through a packager rather than direct to lender, because my brokerage Active works in a very tricky space, shall we say. Complex incomes, complex scenarios, development and investment opportunities. And that's not necessarily the right one to go through a network because they want you to go through a packager. So I've got firsthand experience in giving you the full-blown opportunity here. So let's go down the network route because that's the route that most people go. Now, what you've got to understand is within these 9 areas, potentially more if you let me know in the comments, but let's just take these 9 areas as an example. Whichever route you choose determines how much of these you have to do. As a network, they have their own brand. They're their own limited company. They are their own entity. Now, what a network will do for you is, let's go down this list. They are going to not do brand and marketing. They're not going to do sales. They're not going to give you power planning or administration. They will give you compliance. So we'll put number 5 in here. They'll sort out your PI. They'll sort out and make sure that the advice you give is compliant. They'll sort out your FCA fees, although some networks will charge you a percentage of the business as written to cover the PI cost anyway. They'll give you the support, they'll give you the complaints, and actually they'll give you the sales process. And within this whole sales process and the advice element, their job is to make sure that you are compliant. They'll do your commissions. So we can put number 6 in there. They will give you a CRM, but that CRM is designed to check that you are compliant, that you adhere to this. It is not going to make you more efficient and more effective. And if you only use the network CRM, what happens if they change something and you decide that they no longer suit your business model? What happens if they put their fees up? What happens if they get too big and it affects the way in which you actually want to have a relationship with them? If all your eggs are in the CRM basket within the compliance network that you work from, moving to a new network or changing your business function or model can be an absolute nightmare. So it's about client data. It's about having not just the renewal dates for the future, but you need a product and customer centric system that enables you to move dynamically and be able to control the relationships that you have. They might help you with recruitment. Depends on who you are with. They might help you with recruitment. Actually, do you know what? The other thing I'm going to put in here in number 10 is leadership underneath the training. Because as you grow, some networks give you great support in building your network. So for example, Primus, I know that they pretty much hit all of these boxes in relation to number 9 and number 10. Whereas some of the others don't necessarily do that. Now, what you've got to take into account is for getting that extra support, you're going to pay a percentage away for having that. And that percentage realistically is going to vary massively. It's going to be something, you know, it could be 10% or it could even be 30, 40%. And you're just paying to leverage out some of those activities and some of those tasks so you can focus on what you want to focus on. Now they're going to take 10 to 40%. And the thing you need to realize within that percentage that they're taking is you have the whole mortgage procuration fee. So in terms of everything here, we've got the procuration fee. So let's say that a lender pays 0.4%. Everybody takes a clip of, for example, 0.03%. So this is the gross, this is the net. That difference goes to the network. So not only are they taking the percentage from you, they're also taking a clip off of your mortgages and also off of your protection. And that's exactly the same, because I hear one thing that's really, really important to stress at this stage. So many people turn around and say, but if I go from being underneath a network to being directly authorized, you know, I'm not going to get as good a rates. I'm not going to get access to lenders. I'm not going to get any support or guidance. Well, you most certainly do, because over this side, we have what's called a mortgage club. And what these mortgage clubs are, these are for people who are directly authorized, who want to get some of these benefits as a directly authorized firm. But rather than telling you, you must do this, they advise you, they support you. So you can leverage out and pay a cost for all of that stuff. Now, the mortgage club is also going to take a clip of this because they do give you access to more lenders. You know, we've got the likes of, who do we use? We use Dynamo because of the specialist stuff. So we get exclusive deals, we get better rates. We use TMA, who are actually owned by Primus as well. So we get loads of the same benefits that Primus get. We've got Legal and General. We've got Paradigm. And this is the same on an insurance method as well. All you do when you submit the application to the lender is you choose which one of these is basically going to pay you. The lender then pays the mortgage club, and the mortgage club pay you after taking the little bit of a clip off of that. Really, really super simple. But the beauty is here is you can outsource some of these things to a club if you want to, or you can bring them in-house. So now we've got our network. Well, what happens underneath the network? Well, underneath the network, you then have ARs. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit. We have appointed representatives. And what that means is that this company, the owner of this company, has decided that they want to leverage out 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10 to the AR or get support in those areas to mitigate and minimize their risk, which means that this AR network is potentially earning between 60 and 90% of the gross commissions and the gross income of the business. Now, every network's completely different at this stage. Some will take some of the broker fees, some will take some of the commissions, some will take some of the insurance, and the varying ranges massively, which is why it's vital. But what you then have is, as the AR, you are responsible for everything else. So you're responsible for the brand, the marketing, the sales and the advice, of course, because you're the advisor. You'll be responsible for bringing in your own PA and your own admin in your own power planner. You will have to sort out, or you should sort out, your own compliance CRM system. And you'll have an element of 8 to 10 to deal with as well. So 8 to 10. So you're going to have to sort out potentially some of your own. Some networks will help you with recruitment, some won't. Some will help you with training, some won't. Some will help you with leadership, some won't. This is why it's vital, based on your vision, your goals, and your future. You research which one of these and all the other ones, there's hundreds out there, are the right for you and your business structure and your business model. Now, what you've got to appreciate is, let's make this really, really simple. Let's assume that in the most instances, as an AR, let's just make it, they are getting net 85%, because that's a common fee that I see. I hate it when networks make the figures really difficult to understand. We take this percentage of this, we take this percentage of that, we take this amount of clip on this, blah, 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 blah. What the hell? They're trying to confuse you, and I find it really frustrating and really annoying. Why not just be straight down the line? If you earn 100 grand, we're going to include within that 100 grand the mortgage, the broker fee, the insurance, the general insurance, the this, the that, the other. These are the elements that we're going to cover for you. And for that, we're going to take a percentage. Some of them will and won't include broker fees. It all depends on, what you're looking at. What you also have under here as well is, as an AR, they might make you, the network might cover things like CI Expert or Criteria Hub or Knowledge Bank. Some networks, not only will they take this, but they'll also charge you an additional £100 to £300 per month. And they're going to charge you for PI insurance. And there's going to be extras for all the little bits that I just mentioned, CI Expert and everything else. So you really need to understand what you're getting for your percentage over here. Now, what then happens is, let's assume, back to this example, the AR gets 85% of everything that hits the bank and every element of their turnover. If you're an RI, a registered individual, what you are doing is you are leveraging out all of these elements to the AR. So the RI will effectively be able to leverage out the brand, because that's the responsibility of the AR. So number one is leveraged out. Potentially, they will leverage out some lead generation and marketing. That just very much depends on, the company you're working for. You won't leverage out these advice, but you'll leverage out the compliance aspect. You might even leverage out, the AR might take the responsibility of PA admin and administration. So you could technically get rid of the 4 as well. You don't have to worry about the wages or supporting or training or anything else. You can leverage that out. That's already leveraged out because that's taken care of by the network. That's already leveraged out because they'll be tracking it and they'll be giving you commission statements. CRM and automation. You're going to leverage out the CRM and automation because that's going to be the responsibility of the AR. So technically, all you have to do underneath as an RI, in many respects, is all you've got to do is focus on sales and advice. But what you've got to realize at this stage is, if all you've got to do is sales and advice, the key thing is, in this industry, as an RI, you get 50 to 70%, sometimes even 80. I've seen it in odd occasions as your commission percentage. But what you've got to realize is that the network's taking their cut, the AR's taking their cut, and then you're getting 50 to 70% of the net. So if we assume that you're being given leads, you're being given all of this stuff is being taken care of for you by you giving sales and advice. What that's going to mean is, let's say that you're being given leads and you're getting 50% with leads provided. You're now getting, if you write 100 grand, you're getting 50% of potentially 85%. So 50 of 85, which actually means that you are netting 42.5%, not 50%. And that's where people don't understand it. You get het up on the percentage that you're actually getting. You're not fully understanding what you're getting for your money, which is absolutely vital when it comes to building your business more effectively, more efficiently, and thinking about how you want to get more support. So let's go down to the DA route now. So on the DA side of things, we can get the same deals because we can leverage ourselves to mortgage clubs. And I haven't done this very well. I've chosen a purple, and it's going to be exactly the same by the time you see it on the board. But as a DA, you are taking your responsibility of the full 1 to 10. 1 to 10 is your responsibility as the owner, as the principal, as the leader of the firm, which is what I am in my organization and my brokerage. We now have the senior management scheme where you can leverage out certain key elements underneath the FCA to make sure that you are supported, from there, and you can actually leverage out dual responsibility to some people on the team. But here's the key thing. You can pay for all of this stuff. Now, what happens is branding and marketing dealt with by the DA, sales and advice dealt with by the DA. When you become an RI of a DA, the first thing is you're actually going to get 50 or 70% of the 100%. So it's 50 to 70% of 100%, not after this and after this. Because what you've also got to appreciate, actually, which I haven't put on here, is it's all, there is an element of money that comes into this. It is just making sure that actually you're understanding the industry completely. Now, what's going to happen underneath the RI is it's going to vary. I call this a franchise model. This and this, a franchise model. And you're going to get a varying amount of support depending on who you are working underneath. So if you work for my firm, for example, because we are DA and we do have ARs, if we provide the lead, then we have 50%. If we don't provide the lead, then we offer 70%. But what do you get for that? You get full branding and marketing, and obviously lead generation varies. You don't have to worry about your name above the door. This is the thing here. This could be Joe Bloggs Mortgages. You are then an advisor of Joe Bloggs Mortgages. Here is Active. You are an advisor of Active, which means that you get the strong brand. You get to be part of a team. You get additional support. We do all the branding and the marketing, but you can also do your own lead generation, and you get a different split for that. Sales and advice. Everybody in this level is responsible for their sales and their advice. We take on everything on behalf of the RI, but we're providing a franchise model. Some of our advisors have their own PA administrator, but we also are now building out an internal system for administration. So our advisors, our goal is to make our advisors just focus on this area. That's where we want to make it possible. So we're going to give them outsourced power planning and administration. Compliance, we take care of the whole thing. And what we effectively do is we pay the PI. We pay the FCA fees. We support them. We manage complaints. We give them the sales process, because within this, they get the vital one, which is CRM. The CRM for us not only deals with compliance, because that's what Active as a DA organization needs, but it also deals with sales process, automation, efficiency. And this is what it's all about. Depending on the company you work with, it's going to depend on the level of support that you're going to get. We deal with all the commission tracking. We do the CRM, as I just mentioned. We help with recruitment. We manage all the internal recruitment. You don't have to worry about national insurance, pension contributions, HR, because we're dealing with this part of it. We deal with training. We deal with leadership. So it just all depends on your business model. But you can 100% get support with all of this. As I mentioned, I've been directly authorized since 2008. And I've had one incident with the FCA that was dealt with in the space of 3 months. And it was it actually wasn't dealt with the FCA. It was dealt with NatWest. And it was a misunderstanding with their interpretation of the sales process through conversation, not the reality of the actual job. Letter written, support from the club that we use, and the outsourced compliance, which we have as well. So you've got outsourced or supported compliance. And the difference is that cost, to us is varying between 10 and 15%, depending on how much the advisor writes. Now, some DAs will charge their RI a monthly. We don't charge our RIs a monthly. We also don't charge, so we don't charge this. We don't charge for PI insurance. It's factored within the percentage that we're taking. We don't charge for any of the extras. We could do, but it's just about making sure that it's efficient for our advisors to do the job. We want our advisors to be advisors. So I would urge you to think about what you want going forward for your business and your business model, whether you're employed, wanting to go self-employed. There's nothing wrong with not having your name above the door. I actually believe that some of my mentees should not be an AR, because doing this, dealing with this, and the network, because you have to deal with that through the network, dealing with that, dealing with setting up this, dealing with managing recruitment of people, training anyone who comes in, training leadership. As an AR, you have to deal with all of that. Yes, you can leverage out support and you pay for services in these other areas. As a DA, you're completely sailing your own ship. So you have to go and find these things yourself. But in doing that, it's taking you away from the only thing that makes you money. As an RI, you might not like lead generation, branding and marketing. I did no lead generation, branding and marketing in my first 10 years from 2006 up until 2015. Now that is my sole role, completely strategic. That's what drives the business forward. So I hope that that's given you something to think about in terms of what you want to do. This isn't scary. This is an opportunity. But what you've got to appreciate is that you're fully responsible for all of these areas. What you need to understand, if you're going to do this, you are still your own business and your own legal entity. And it is still your responsibility to deal with all of this. If all you want to do is work with clients, is focus on relationships, is build your business, is, just not have to deal with the administration elements of working out a brand, working out marketing, there's nothing wrong with that. Why do you think there are so many people out there who are millionaires working with McDonald's, working with Starbucks? Because they buy into a proven process, a franchise. They're not fussed about having their own name above the door. You're still, in this industry, an individual providing a service. I'm still Gary Das, the mortgage broker. You are still you as a mortgage broker. It's still you and your name that people are buying into. But what you're leveraging out and what you're focusing on is just one area. And it all depends on how much you want to focus on all of the other areas. And what I see more often than not is too many people getting into this area and not earning more than 40, 50 grand a year. If that's you, then I suggest that you've got the wrong business model. If in your second year of trading, you have not hit 6 figures, then this is potentially not right for you. If you are not focusing every day on branding, marketing, sales, admin, finances, I haven't actually put bookkeeping underneath this, but that is a vital area. You really need to think about what you actually want for your future. Would you rather take care of it all and leverage out some of the stuff? Would you rather take care of 100% of it? Or would you rather be somebody who has a lot of the things provided? And it all depends on the percentage that you're willing to give away for the trade of the support and all the individual areas. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks very much indeed for tuning in. Let me know if you have any questions or comments in the chat and in the comments. Please do rate, subscribe, like the channel. And if you want to find out more about becoming an RI of my brokerage in Active, where we focus on helping self-employed business owners and entrepreneurs to buy and invest in property, where we give you pretty much all of these areas in your business so that you can just focus on clients. We will help you to get to 6-figure personal income, taking home 5 figures every single month, providing you're proactive, providing you are active, providing you work hard, you reach out for support. We even provide management support to make sure that our team are absolutely flying. We have regular meetups. It's almost all the benefits of being self-employed with all the good benefits of being employed. We get rid of the rubbish ones. That's how you can win. That's how you can be more successful. That's how you can focus on sales and administration, and you can build a more successful, profitable business. We're constantly looking for great talent, ones who want to be in the top 1% of the industry, looking after clients, getting the best support and training, working with the best CRM, customer management systems, and building out your own element. One final thought that I haven't referenced is that point of, within this model, you can still have some advisors. You can still be a team leader of 5 or 6 advisors if that's something you wanted to do, rather than having to go and set up your own appointed representative in order to be able to do it. The key thing when you are at this level is to understand it's a franchise model. Thanks very much indeed for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you again on the next one.